Hello and welcome to Southeastern 16 preview and prediction on Tennessee's game with Wofford in the NCAA Tournament. The Vols, the number 2 seed, facing 15th seeded Wofford. You can catch this 5:50 Central on Thursday night. Game in Lexington can be shown or can be seen on TNT. The predictive computers like Tennessee by about 22. The Vols are, of course, pretty hot heading into the NCAA Tournament. Runners up in the SEC tournament, playing great ball right now. We're number 1 part of the season. Wofford, a team, though, that can hit some threes and do some things that are troublesome potentially. Max, what have you got on this matchup? What stands out to you off the jump?
Well, initially, what's standing out is the line movement on this game. Little weird. As you mentioned, the predictives have this as 20, north of 20-point victory for Tennessee. Line opened around there, down to 19, down to even 18 and a half, I've seen. So some heavy money coming in on the Terrier spread. Wofford has not done all too much to prove that they can cover that against high-quality competition. Only played one quad one game this year. It was against Duke. They lost by 51. However, I think the reason why you're seeing maybe some sharp pro money come in on Wofford is because of the pace they play. Slow. And if we know anything about the history of the Vols in the tournament, a slow, grinded out team that can muck it up. And like you said, Chris, can hit a few threes. It raises the eyebrows a little bit when you dive into the initial parts of the matchup.
Yeah, I think it's easy to see why the numbers moved because it's a slow pace game and you have a team that shoots a lot of threes. And I think if you combine those two together and Wofford gets both of those things doing exactly that, then they've got a chance to make this close, right? They're 25th nationally in 3-point attempts per game, shooting 28 per contest. Slow pace, so if they're getting the shot they want and they're getting threes, now their percentages are not bad. I mean, 34.5%, there's nothing wrong with that. They're a good team at rebounding offensively. So if you're taking long threes, you're getting those long rebounds, and you're taking another 20 seconds off the clock, then that limits Tennessee's ability to put up points, right? So that's the name of the game here. It's like, hey, we don't want to make too many threes. When you get an offensive rebound, take another 20 seconds off the clock. Maybe that's the path here. But in all seriousness, I mean, I think that's why this is the case, because it's not like Tennessee's a team, let's say they're Alabama or something, right, where they're just going to run up and down the floor. They're going to make you play a high-paced game. Tennessee's 263rd in offensive possession length. So I think that's it. You're expecting this to be a lower-scoring game, and my guess is that's why you've seen this get a little bit closer than maybe some people would expect between a 2-15 in terms of just the setup here.
Well, we like to look at when a team that's a decided underdog in this can cause an upset. But here's the problem. There's 2 problems that I see in this. Tennessee, guys, do you know how many games since December 23rd that Tennessee has played over 70 possessions? The answer is 1. That was Alabama, which is tempo proof. Number 2, and it is one of these things where Wofford is not a great 3-point shooting team. It just shoots a ton of them, 47, 48% of its shots. So, like, there's a day when, they shoot 30 and 15 are going in, and that's the formula for it. But the problem is Tennessee's the number 1 team against the 3. So I just see some holes poked in upset possibility here pretty quickly.
Yeah, before I dive into advantages either way, I might butcher this last name, but Wofford's big man, Kyler Filowich, he is a bully ball enjoyer's delight. I'm talking 32% from the free throw line underhand. It's a sight to see. It really is. The reason I bring him up, though, is because Wofford, one of their biggest strengths, probably their biggest strength, is their rebounding, especially their offensive rebounding. They're able to do that in the Southern. Are they able to do that against big Felix Okpara, Milicic, Cade Phillips. I feel like that is going to, like you said, Chris, poke a little bit of a hole in the upset possibility. If Wofford got an undersized team, one that you could be like, hey, they've got a path to some offensive rebounds here. We know they're going to spread it out and spray it. And I could see Wofford hitting some threes, and if not, getting some offensive rebound kickouts for threes. They're going to have to make the first one against Tennessee, because I do not see the path to Wofford dominating the offensive glass against a front court like the Vols.
Our goal this week is to tell you the reasons why the non-SEC teams can either win or make it interesting. So it's a 2-15 matchup. We have to certainly, again, find some ways to do that, right? But as Chris said, if you look at it from just a number standpoint, going back to after Vanderbilt just went off, Tennessee allowed back-to-back games, Kentucky and Vanderbilt, they both made 12 threes against them. All right, I'm going to read you the results since that point. That was on February 15th. So the past month, here's what Tennessee's allowed from three. Texas A&M 5 of 30, which, I mean, that's A&M. LSU 7 of 27, Alabama 9 of 24, Ole Miss 5 of 19, South Carolina 8 of 36, Texas 4 of 16, Auburn 6 of 21, Florida 9 of 27. So I think what's interesting about that is that those are all pretty low percentages. You have some teams in that group that can shoot the ball. You have some teams in that group that can't shoot the ball. So that's always going to be the case. But it's just the overall picture for Tennessee when it comes to guarding is pretty clear. Like, they're one of the best defensive teams in the country. They are the best defensive team at not allowing you to get the shots you want on the perimeter. It's not even like just take it beyond the percentages, right? They don't let you get shots that you want to get. And I think, let's say they don't completely eliminate that for Wofford, but let's say they do a really good job of limiting that. Where do the points come from at that point for Wofford, right? Are they going to go inside and try to score on Okpara and Milicic, who, by the way, I will say, Milicic, I think, needs to, he didn't probably have his best SEC tournament. I think you'll see him come out maybe with a little chip on his shoulder here, wanting to prove, that he can get back on track here, which I think he can. And then it's like, get to the free throw line? Wofford shoots 66.8% from three. That's one of the worst percentages in the NCAA tournament for a team from the free throw. So legitimately, when I look at this and you're trying to find ways to find the upsets in these kind of spots, you do want to see a team that has multiple ways of beating you, right? I look at this Wofford team just based on the stats against what Tennessee is good at. I mean, I see one path. And it's just, listen, it's any given day, right? Anything can happen. But to me, like, I don't see those where before we've seen some of these teams where we're like, all right, look out for that, look out for that, look out for that. I guess the other path could be this. If Tennessee hits a cold patch offensively in a low possession game, then maybe that's your other path. But to me, it's like Wofford's got to just go off from three, or I just don't see a lot of ways that they're going to be able to win this game.
Yeah. Are we ready for picks?
Yeah, I think Blake, what you said paints the picture for Wofford. In a low-scoring game, if Tennessee does hit a drought, and say Tennessee's up by 15, right? And they go on a little bit of a drought, and now it's 8, and the entire crowd is rooting against Tennessee. And you just can get a little bit tight. Like, I can see an offensive drought potentially in a low-scoring game making things a little bit tight. I could see that. But I think Wofford's result against Duke is so eye-opening. 51 points. I know Duke is Duke, but still, when they played a team that they were not able to impose their will physically, they had nothing left. So I'm going Tennessee.
Yeah, I think we've unpacked just about every potential angle. But here's one other thing in Tennessee's favor. I mean, this is one of the oldest teams in college basketball. It's got a program leader in Zakai Ziegler. Like, I don't know if he'd be on the Mount Rushmore of Tennessee basketball right now, but if he gets him to a Final Four, he would be. And one of the most beloved players in the history of the program. He's a leader. I just don't. I mean, it does freak me out a little bit that the Vegas spread is several points below what everything screams it should be. But come on, Tennessee's going to win this game in advance.
The only thing I would say for Tennessee, just don't settle for 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3, because I think sometimes you can see that in these kind of games, because you know what Wofford wants to do defensively. They don't want to just sit there and let you just come inside and get anything you want. They're going to try to push you out and make you take shots. I think, from 3, that would be my guess here, just because, again, I feel like it's otherwise you're just going to let Ziegler and Gainey and, Lanier get these mid-range jumpers, just silky smooth shots. I think, that's what they want too, right? Just from a defensive standpoint. So, not to say Tennessee can't shoot the ball. I know that's, don't want that to be taken the wrong way. Tennessee's not a bad shooting team, but when you look at some of these last several games, especially on neutral courts, keep that in mind. It's not a home game, neutral court. 5 of 20 against Texas, 25%, 5 of 19 against Auburn, 26%, 8 of 26 against Florida, 31%. So, again, our job is to give you all the reasons why the upset could happen, why you should be worried if you're a fan of an SEC team. But in all honesty, I just think that this is one where it will, let's call it what it is. It'll take that one shining moment, March Madness type game for Wofford to win here. We've seen it happen before, but I just think matchup-wise, to me, I just think Tennessee statistically matches up very well with this particular 15 seed, and I feel like if you're Wofford, you would have liked to see one of the other 2 seeds just based on what Tennessee does the best, and that is pressure you to no end on the perimeter. So,
for the record, the predictive models do think that I think Wofford is the best of the 15 seeds, but still. Hey, if you're a believer in Wofford picking or, can get an upset here, if you're a believer Tennessee can get to the Final Four and or beyond, I know the place people should go.
Bracket bids. Enter into the free pick'em contest or start that auction draft league with your friends, family, coworkers. You can check out the scoring rules, everything, how it works over at Bracket Bids. If you want to set up a league, use our promo code SE16 for 40% off. SE16, 40% off. Download the Bracket Bids app today or visit them at bracketbids.com.
All right, thanks for watching our SEC basketball preview. We're going to have one for every game an SEC team plays in the NCAA tournament. To get that, hit the subscribe button, enable your notifications, and hit the like button. That helps us out. For Max Barr and Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. God bless you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.